Hey, welcome to episode number 37 of the Ask Sri Vishwanath show. It's a beautiful day. In today's episode, we'll speak about bad habits and how to conquer bad habits faster and quicker than you ever thought possible.
You ask questions and I answer them. This is the Ask Sri Vishwanath show.
So today's question is from Jeffrey from Australia, and Jeffrey asks that I've been smoking and drinking for the last 14 years. It's 30 years now. And I have tried to get rid of my bad habits, but they don't go away. And I have tried many things, but they keep coming back. So, Jeffrey, I can hear what you're saying, and the first thing is I want to let you know that it's going to go away very quickly, maybe by the end of this episode, because you know that it's a bad habit and you've got to work on it. So that's the first step, because when you don't even consider that it's something that you got to reflect on, then you just continue. So you know that's something you want to get rid of, and so it will go away very easily, because we are going to do some cool stuff. All right. So I read a beautiful quote, and I want to tell you this quote, which is very wonderful. It goes something like that, where about habits, and says it takes years to build good habits. It takes years to build good habits and seconds to lose them. And it takes seconds to build bad habits, but years to lose them, right? It takes, years to build the great habits, good habits, but seconds to lose them. While it takes seconds to build bad habits, and it takes ages or years to lose them. So, it's interesting that yesterday I was traveling, and the reason I picked up this question, because yesterday I was traveling in a cab from my office to my place, home. And, the guy was smoking, and so he said that let me complete my smoke. And I said, fine, because there was no other vehicle. And then as he started the vehicle, he said that, look, I've not been able to get rid of this habit. It's a bad habit for 20 years. And it was interesting that your question came up. And I told him spontaneously something very interesting, which I want to share with you. The first thing I told him is, don't conquer bad habits, Jeffrey, through self-effort. And I want you to write this down. Don't conquer bad habits through self-effort. Don't even try. And the reason for that is because, there's a lot of research and all these things done by bad habits and wise means. Any habit that you do for 1 week, you do it for 1 month. Anything that you do for 3 months, you do for 1 year. Anything you do for 1 year, you do for 3 years. Any habit that you develop for 3 years stays with you for 10 years. And anything that you do for 10 years sticks to you for a lifetime. Did you get that? This is research is done. It might be a little bit up and down, but this is what it is. Anything that you do for certain time sticks with you. And so, anything that you have done about 10 years, you got to understand that it's going to stick with you for a lifetime. You don't conquer bad habits through self-effort, because you're going to fail miserably, no matter what you do. Because willpower is a myth. It will not work here. Because people, try to use willpower, out of 1 million, maybe, 1 or 2 might succeed. And they succeed because the time is in their favor, the script is in their favor. The easy way is, as you know, you have already acknowledged that something you got to say. Don't conquer bad habits through self-effort. So what do? So what I told him is, do you pray, or do you go to temples or churches or mosques or whatever? So he said that he's a Buddhist, that the cab driver, but he goes to a temple, a Shiva temple nearby. And so I told him that next time when you go, you ask Shiva for help. Ask for help. That's step number 2. Step number 1, don't conquer self-habits through self-effort. Step 2 is ask for help. So when you go to the temple, just for 5 minutes, ask God that, I'm not able to get rid of this bad habit. Please help me get rid of that. So, ask God for help. That is step number 2. Just ask whatever God you have for help. And if you don't, go to temples, churches or mosques, then you pray, then you meditate, then you ask from your consciousness for help. Surrender, resign yourself to that higher power and say that I'm not able to get rid of this bad habit. Please help me get rid of this bad habit. And something magical will happen because you're doing the first step right. You're not going through self-effort. And second is you're seeking help from a higher source. This is very, very important because when you do that, something magical happens. They say where there's a will, there's a way. And so a way will easily come out. And in most cases, if you do this today, tomorrow, you will be able to get rid of it tomorrow itself. Because you have our blessings and you are doing the most appropriate right thing. Because see, if the room is dark and you switch on the light, even if you're a murderer, the light will come on. So you got to understand that if you do things the right way and not what your mind says, do what the great men and women said. Do this and you will notice that, just maybe tomorrow itself, way will, carve for you. Because this is very important that things will beautifully work for you. Now, why does this work? Now, why does this work? And why does this not work rather? Because most people think that when they surrender to a higher force, they feel that, they are not eligible. That's because of guilt, because of fear, because of all this karma, because of all these waves, we feel that this is not going to work. But the way to pray to God, or the way to meditate is, you got to know this verse from the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, which is very important. It says, due to its beginningless, Krishna has defined consciousness as, due to its beginningless, it always existed. And being unborn, it always existed. And having freedom from attributes, the Supreme Self, though dwelling in the body, is untainted and does not work. So Krishna says, he defines consciousness that, due to its beginningless, it's without a beginning. And being unborn, it was never born. And having freedom from attributes, it's not affected by the emotions. The Supreme Self, though dwelling in the body, is untainted and does not work. And just as the all-pervading space, due to its subtlety, is not stayed, the Supreme Self, though dwelling in the body, is untainted. So this is very important, that every person, there's a God within, and that God is not tainted, even if you do whatever you do. So even if you're a murderer, nothing will happen. Even if you do all the bad things, the God within doesn't get tainted. Just as the space, you see the space within, just as the all-pervading space, due to its subtlety, is not tainted. You see, if there's poisonous gas released in this room, the space will not get tainted. It's only the air which will get tainted. Why? Because space is subtle. You see, now I want you to listen to this. Space is spaceless. You see, space exists, but it does not take up space. And yet everything exists within the space, right? So space is subtle. It doesn't get tainted in spite of anything happening inside the space. This is very, very important. I want you to know this. So I want you to remember this word. Just as the all-pervading space, due to its subtlety, is not tainted, so also the Supreme Self, though dwelling in the body, is not tainted. Space is spaceless. Space does not take space, yet everything is within the space. And anything happening within that space does not affect the space, because only the air gets polluted, the space does not. So the God, the consciousness within you does not get tainted, does not get, and nothing happens to it. Even though everything within it, like your thoughts, your emotions, your body, the mind and intellect, no matter what you do and how much it gets tainted, this does not get tainted. And that is your thing. If you pray to God, if you meditate from this place, you will get instant freedom. This moment right now, that is enlightenment. If you pray and you ask this source that, you ask for help, and you connect from this source, to the God within, if it's the temple, church, or if you just meditate directly on this source, you are doing the most appropriate things, because you're going to the divine source, which is untainted, which is pure, which is free from all these things, habits, good, bad, and all these things. And when you do that, it will give you some wonderful things. It will give you that freedom, that light, and these things, smoking, drinking, and anything. It just applies to everything. Freedom, guilt, lies, people telling lies, guilt, cheating, anything. This will just drop off like anything, because it will carve a beautiful way for you. Because Krishna says that even if a man of wicked nature worships me exclusively, is indeed deemed worthy, for his resolution is right. If you know the secret, and the God within you, and the consciousness within you does not get affected, no matter what you do, you will, and if you surrender to that higher source exclusively, that's the word, exclusively, with complete knowledge and with complete devotion, you will get its benefit, because Krishna himself says, even if a man of wicked nature worships me exclusively, is indeed deemed worthy, for his resolution is right. This is very, very important. And for those people who think that if that is the case, then whatever I do doesn't make a sense, well, consciousness within doesn't get affected. But if you keep doing wrong things, your surface will be covered with the waves, and you'll not be able to enjoy the power, the peace, the freedom of this consciousness, and you'll be continued to be tormented by a mind, body, and intellect. So the fact is that this consciousness does not change. It's the same serene, even for a murderer, terrorist, and all their evil things, as well as for the good things. But it's only those who get in touch with the consciousness, they reap the benefits. So just as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that, towards all beings I am the same. I hate none nor hold anyone dear. Those who worship me with devotion live in me, and I, Krishna Paramatma, in them. So Krishna says, towards all beings I am the same. I hate none nor hold anyone dear. But those who worship me with devotion live in me, and I in them. They reap the full benefits. So, Jeffrey, what I want you to do is, first thing, don't conquer self. Don't conquer bad habits of self, but just give it up. Second is, if you go to church, mosque, or whatever temple, go there and ask God for help. Step 2. And step 3 is, the way to do that is, you should know that there is this consciousness, the God within, which is untainted no matter what you did. Okay, that's the secret. And that has been gifted to you today. Ask that place, from that source connect to the God outside. Or if you're just meditating, connect to that source within, and the doors to liberation will just open up, and all these things like a piece of cake will just fall off. You'll get all the strength and freedom to do all this, and this will happen instant right now. So let me know. Alright, Jeffrey, I hope I answered your question. You keep asking questions, and I keep answering them.